everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Points of Articulation. My name's Dave, and you guys been asking for this one for a while, so here is the Hot Wheels Star Wars Speederbike. Now, the Imperial Speederbike with Scout Trooper was first seen in Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. And the length of this model is a tad over 3¼ inches long, which is pretty good. Now, before I get to the review, I just want to say that, yes, I know this particular model is not perfect. The proportions are way off in some aspects, but it is a nice model nonetheless for the collection. So we do have a lot to cover. We're going to look at this mold, check out the paint, put it on its stand, compare it to some other ships, and then we'll be done. So let's get started. To start this review off, let's look at the mold, and I must say it is very nice. We can see all the details here. Let's begin with the Scout Trooper. We have his blaster, some wrinkles, his armor, fingers on the handlebars there. The helmet's done pretty nice. Actually, it's a nice looking trooper. Now, the reason why I brought him up first is because, as you can see, the bike itself is massive compared to him or her. But I just want to bring in the Titanium series ship. And as we can see here, this is more accurate to the film. The bikes aren't really that big. There are a couple screenshots of Princess Leia on there. She's basically in the same position, hunched over, and Luke would be in back of her or whatnot. But this is what it should look like. The Black Series is close to this as well. But as we can see with the Hot Wheels version, the pilot right here is much smaller and the ship is much bigger. A minor gripe, proportions are always a problem for small ships, Hot Wheels and Titaniums included. But besides that, I do like the mold here. I think the Scout Trooper looks pretty cool. Now we have our steering vanes, which came out pretty neat. We have some details on there. Coming down, we have our controls, handlebars done nicely, buttons in the center console. We have our seat, some great details going down the side here. Little sack there. And back here we have our thrust flaps. And they're a little bit long, but it's alright. Back here we have our engines. You can see the little turbines. Sharp. Looking at the bottom, we have our 2 rivets. Stand connector port, copyright crap. Blaster right there. We have our power cell. And you can see where they added all this in down here for the peg port. Where his, basically the pedals should be. But they filled that all in and made it solid. I guess you gotta do what you gotta do. Coming down to the front, we have some more detail leading down to these steering vanes. All in all, nicely done ship. Just a little weird with the proportions. But great design nonetheless. Alright, looking at the paint, let's begin looking at the Scout Trooper. We have black and white, obviously. Little spots down there, but besides that, very nicely done, especially in the eyes, the helmet, neck, and hands, and legs. Very clean, I like that a lot. No paint on the back, but what are you going to do? Now, for the ship itself, we have brown, and then metallic silver, which is really nice, like it's battle-worn. Pretty sick. That's over the whole ship. Now, besides the brown and silver, we have tan right here for this knapsack. And then for the seat, handlebars, these sections here, the blaster, the pedals, the engines, and the thrust flaps, they are all an extremely dark metallic gray. Almost to the point of black. And I thought it was black at first. But you can see it best on the flaps. They do have a extremely dark gray look. And that does have some sort of glitter in there as well. But very nicely done. I do like the paint on this quite a bit. I think they did a decent job. Then just like other ships of the line, you get this cool stand. Peg it in the port and hear that click. And then you're good to go. For comparison with the Hot Wheels Speederbike, we have the Hot Wheels Hover Tank, which is also a nice ship. And then over here we have the Titanium series Scout Trooper on the Speederbike, which in my opinion has better proportions than the Hot Wheels version, but to each his own. And that does it today for my review of the Hot Wheels Star Wars Speederbike. Again, this bad boy was first seen in Episode 6, The Return of the Jedi. And basically, what do I like about this ship? First of all, the detail is amazing. The paint helps it so much. You know, the detail alone, they got the pipes and the knobs and the blasters and the buttons. Everything's there. But the paint helps it. You know, especially with that silver weathering they have on it. Awesome. And also, it has a good size. The length is a tad over 3¼ inches long, which is pretty good. And talking about the length, the only negative I have about this is the proportions are a tad bit off. Now, to the casual buyer, that's not a big issue. A kid will play with this. If I had this when I was small, I would play with it. No biggie. But if you're a hardcore collector and you're into fine details, you might have a slight issue with it. I recommend seeing it in person and then making a judgment there. Now, speaking of buying it, I personally got mine in Walmart in person. It was $4.99. However, other stores that they're said to be at are Target, Toys R Us, Barnes & Noble, Best Buy. And of course, you could also check online on Amazon or eBay. So like always, shop smart, be patient, and get it cheap. Save yourself some money. So that's basically everything I have to say about this ship. I really like it, and I do recommend it for anybody who's a fan of Return of the Jedi or the Imperials. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you did, hit that like button. And if you'd like to see new reviews every Thursday, subscribe. Again, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.